In the rueful realm of Dark Sunset Manor, a most unusual assisted living facility, we have the likes of a gruesome ghost, a vicious vampire, and a woeful werewolf. And speaking of the latter, prisoner Chris Jennings is experiencing a second consecutive night with a full moon, and the deadly effects are becoming known. And Officer Wyatt Earp may be in for the biggest surprise of his life. Meanwhile, at a long-forgotten secret room at Dark Sunset Manor, a mysterious fire has begun to rage. This as Octavia Merriweather faces a specter who claims to be the ghost of her murdered husband, and he claims that Octavia is the one who murdered him. Yes, Octavia, I am your dearly departed husband, Marshall Merriweather, and I know you are the one who murdered me. Marshall? That's you? It doesn't look like you. Oh, I forgot. I'm still in my ghostly form. Here's the Marshall Merriweather you remember. Marshall, you're alive. And you say I murdered you? That is correct, Octavia. However, I have a plan that could change the course of history forever. Meanwhile, on the other side of this door, in this secret room, Irving Pennywise and Malcolm Merriweather are doubting whether or not the flames are real. And as they are thinking that, the flames are extinguished. Look at that, Malcolm. The flames are gone. All we had to do was not believe in those flames, and they vanished. This is extremely interesting, and I know that my grandmother is beyond that door. And in the memory care residence of Narcissa Glass, Narcissa's daughter, Louise Smythe, is facing Narcissa's evil counterpart in the mirror, and now she's facing her own, and Narcissa's counterpart has a diabolical scheme in mind. And yes, Chris Jennings' moments as a human are coming to an end. This as Officer Wyatt Earp unlocks Chris Jennings' jail cell and looks in and sees a beastly sight. And the very same full moon is shimmering over Chris Jennings' ramshackle bungalow, where his twin brother, Craig, lies in state, and front desk attendant Andrew Hausman waits patiently. And as Andrew Hausman steps closer to his master, Greetings, Rob McCool here, the all-knowing, all-wise owner of Dark Sunset Manor. I am everywhere and nowhere. However, right now, I'm with front desk attendant Andrew Hausman. He's been awaiting his dark master, Craig Jennings, a vampire, and now his wait is over. And back at the door to the secret room, at the end of the secret passage in Dark Sunset Manor, Malcolm Merriweather and Irving Pennywise are contemplating heading into that room. My grandmother must be through that door. Grandmother, it's Malcolm. Are you in there? On the other side of that door, Octavia Merriweather cannot hear her grandson's voice, for she has encountered the visage of her deceased husband, a man who died many years before under mysterious circumstances. Marshall, you claimed that I murdered you. Where did you come up with that supposition? Apparently, Octavia, I will need to refresh your memory. You can't make me remember something that didn't happen. Ah, but it did. And it happened 5 years after we were married. The year 1974. Are you referring to our second honeymoon that we celebrated on March 13 of that year? Yes, Octavia. It was on our second honeymoon that you murdered me. Earlier that same day, March 13, 2025, before he joined Malcolm Merriweather on a rescue mission for Malcolm's grandmother, Octavia Merriweather, Irving Pennywise had been thinking about his father's upcoming funeral service. He also thought back to what the coroner had told him. Based on my findings, it would appear as if your father had a sudden shock of some kind. Something that scared him terribly, or something that was such a terrible strain on him that caused his heart to stop beating. So in other words, doctor, you don't know what killed my father. Well, I don't know what exactly killed your father, but I do know he was murdered. And Irving Pennywise is thinking, my father was murdered, and I think I know who the murderer is. And at the studio apartment of Nurse Nellie Vauban, Nurse Nellie is again going over the records of Joseph Pennywise when her phone rings. The caller is Cindy Sue on speakerphone. Hi, Cindy Sue. Oh, yeah. Okay, you're going back down to the police station to check on Chris? Are you sure that's a good idea? I have this terrible feeling that something is happening. Something horrible is happening down at that police jail and patrol station. Please don't tell me you're planning to go down there. That's exactly what I'm planning to do. I'll keep you posted on what happens. And back in the memory care residence of Narcissa Glass, Narcissa's daughter, Louise Smythe, is mesmerized by her reflection, a woman with a mind of her own. Louise, dear, don't get too close to that mirror. I don't trust your reflection. Remember, she does have a mind of her own. But even as Narcissa Glass gives this admonition to her daughter, Louise Smythe puts her hand up to the mirror and touches her reflection, which causes it to transcend the pane of glass that comprises the mirror, and suddenly Louise Smythe finds herself standing side by side with her reflection. And Narcissa remained amazingly calm. And outside the secret room, Irving Pennywise and Malcolm Merriweather decide what to do next, since they cannot seem to communicate with Octavia Merriweather, who is on the other side of the door. And when Malcolm Merriweather tugs on said door, you guessed it, all they see is an empty closet. And back at Chris Jennings' house in the cellar, Andrew Houseman is hoping to get a rise out of Craig Jennings. And as he watches his malevolent master rise from his coffin and stand before it, he is relishing the opportunity to inform Craig about what has happened to his brother, Chris. Andrew Houseman, my loyal servant, tell me, what has happened in the last 24 hours? What do I most need to know? Well, Dark Master, I have been guarding you, but I do know that your brother, Chris Jennings, has been arrested on suspicion of being a werewolf. Suspicion? Ha! That's a laugh. He is a werewolf, and he hates me. Yes, he does hate you. He was planning to drive a stake through your heart when I came down here and stopped him. Is that so? So, he's been arrested? He's in jail? Yes, he's at the police jail and patrol station. Then that is where I need to go. And in the police jail and patrol station, Officer Wyatt Earp has opened the jail cell door. This as Chris Jennings vents his frustrations. What the? What? Who? What are? Stay back! Stay back! Prisoner 1960513 here, encouraging you to like this video, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. And now it's time to get back to the dark side of Rob McCool. And with Officer Wyatt Earp down for the count, Chris Jennings makes his escape through the open jail door. And in that secret room in Dark Sunset Manor, Octavia Merriweather is conferring with her husband, a man who claims he was murdered. Yes, Octavia, I contend that you were the one who murdered me, and I'm going to take you backward through time to the night of our second honeymoon, to that costume party, and through intense concentration, the ghost of Marshall Merriweather is able to make himself and Octavia vanish into the past to 1974, where there is a familiar face in the crowd. And back at the police jail and patrol station, there's a familiar face emerging through the front door. Yes, it's Chris Jennings. He's broken free. He's come through the front door. And on the sidewalk, he sees his next victim. It's Cindy Sue. Yes, Chris Jennings is about to reach out and touch someone.